lives are a never-ending circle of events and actions. One is born, one grows old, and one dies. Of course, there are minor occurrences in between: relationships, employment, families, tragedies, feuds, the acquisition of material items, religion, the list goes on. The circle of life, as this process has been so aptly named, has been a continuous process for longer than there has been a name for it. Time itself has only existed as a concept in the minds of mortals for a few thousand years, but I can assure you that the series of chronological events you now know as time has been around since the beginning of existence. And how do I know this, you might ask? Well, I have been around since before the beginning of existence. God does not factor into this scheme. After all, it is mortals that created God, not the other way around. The only entity that I answer to is fate. There is nothing more. I have been referred to as many things and by many names through the millennia. You may simply call me Death. Not quite what you expected. Perhaps you expected something like this? Or this? Well, let me put it this way. I am an entity, a force, if you will. I can be in a million places at once, or can be nowhere at all. Now, I would not be able to do these things if I had a permanent physical presence, now would I? I have chosen to assume this form on this occasion because it is easier for you mortals to relate to. Now then, I want to tell you about Arthur McKinney, but first, let me relocate to somewhere a little more homely. Much better. Now, the story of Arthur McKinney is a very unique one indeed. You see, fate governs all mortal lives, and ultimately the development, progression, and destruction of, well, pretty much everything. Fate is omnipotent, and thus infallible. However, and believe me, fate would never admit to this. On one or two occasions, mistakes have been made. Arthur McKinney was one of those mistakes. Arthur McKinney was born at 7:15 a.m. on February 3rd, 1965 in the city of Chicago to his loving parents, Anne and Peter McKinney. On the 28th of November, 1985, Arthur joined the Chicago Fire Department and died in the line of duty for the first time at 12 a.m. on Saturday, the 1st of January, 2000.
What's the status here? There was an explosion approximately 30 minutes ago. The building's fire alarms failed to activate, as did the sprinklers. Currently, we believe that there are 30 to 40 civilians still inside.
Do you know what we're dealing with here? What caused the explosion? How many units are available to assist?
We don't know what caused the initial explosion, which is why we are waiting for all the clear before entering the building.
Dang. Any other units?
Sir, there are no other units available. We're on our own.
We can't just stand by and do nothing, whilst there are people dying in that building. Listen up. We haven't had the okay to enter this building, but I'm not going to sacrifice any more lives because of a red tape holdup. Now, because this building is still classified as unsafe, I'm asking for volunteers to go in with me and get these people out.
Yeah, hell yeah. I'm with you, Chief.
Thank you. You will each do your station and the people of Chicago a great service today. And for that, you should all be proud. Now grab your gear and let's get in there! Dang. It's harder than heck in here.
Sir, how are we going to get 30 people out in time if there are no other units coming to help? I can't see a way.
According to the building schematic, the sprinkler system's control panel is behind this door.
Arthur, think about this. That is a fire door. The handle is so hot it is about to melt. If you open this door, you'll get hit by a backdraft.
If you have another option, then I'm all ears. But these people are running out of time. If I can get to the emergency override switch, then the sprinklers will activate, and the spread of the fire will be controlled.
I had realized that something had gone wrong as soon as Arthur passed on. I had a sort of list, or catalogue, if you will, that documents the exact time and place of death for every living creature on the planet.
Where am I? What happened?
Arthur McKinney, you have passed on from the mortal world. Your body is dead, and the land of the living is no longer your home. This is a time of transition from one state to the next. You died at... Hang on. It's here somewhere. You died because of... I'm sorry, this is rather embarrassing. I'm afraid you're not on my list.
So what is that supposed to mean? Am I dead, or aren't I?
No, you most definitely are not living. But, nevertheless, curious. This has never happened before.
Who, or what are you?
I am death. Now, Arthur was supposed to survive this blast of intense heat. At least, that was to be his fate. However, something went awry, and Arthur was burnt alive. Because of this, the firefighters couldn't get to the sprinkler control panel before its circuitry melted, and thus, the sprinklers never came on, and 30 people, plus 2 of the firefighters, died. I know this because I collected them at the time of their passing, and none of them were on my list. Like ripples in a still pool, the effects of this seemingly isolated situation began to grow. The fabric of time and space started to come undone. Chaos like the world had never seen before, or not that the world could have remembered, intertwined with mortal lives. You see, once something as delicate and intricate as causality moves out of alignment, the whole thing starts to fall apart, and Arthur, along with 32 other people that passed on that day, weren't supposed to. Well, there was one exception, but that was a heroin addict who was scheduled to depart later that day from an overdose. It seems, even when mistakes are made, fate still has a sense of humor.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to say our final goodbyes to Arthur McKinney. Arthur was a loving father and husband, and an asset to the city of Chicago. His life was taken in a line of duty in a heroic effort to try and save the lives of over 30 innocent people. He will be deeply missed.
This is awful. Seeing my loved ones in pain like this. Seeing my body being lowered beneath the ground. Why the heck have you brought me here?
I have brought you here in order to illustrate my point. You are the first being to have witnessed their own funeral from beyond the land of the living. Normally, this kind of thing is impossible, and very much against the rules.
I don't follow. If it's impossible and against the rules, then why are we here?
Because I'm afraid the rules don't apply at the moment. You see, you were not meant to die. At least, not in the fire that killed you. Fate had decreed that you survive the fire, make it to the sprinkler control panel, and save most of the people in that burning building.
So what went wrong?
Well, that's the problem. We are not really sure. But the repercussions of this single event are catastrophic. If something is not done to put the timelines of destiny back in order...
Yes? What happens?
It may be difficult, almost an impossible concept for your mind to handle, but the universe, as you know it, is quickly unraveling, and before long will simply cease to exist at all.
You're right. I can't even begin to comprehend what you've just told me. But it sounds pretty bad. So why are you telling me this at my own funeral?
Because, Arthur McKinney, I need your help. Not to sound too overdramatic, but the fate of the world rests on your shoulders.
Wow. That's pretty huge. So let's say that I follow what you're saying. Slightly. What do I need to do? What the? I really wish you wouldn't do that. Where are we now?
We are nowhere. This is nothingness. It doesn't exist anywhere apart from right here and now. It is the only place that I can be sure is beyond the current effects of the unraveling universe.
Glad I asked.
Arthur, I have brought you here because I need your mind clear of any distractions from your old life. If we are to succeed in rectifying this situation, then you are going to have to be totally focused. You will have to remember the future.
I don't understand.
Well, of course not. I haven't told you what's going to happen yet. Now, pay attention. We may have to cheat fate a little bit here. Arthur, Arthur, remember what once was your future. Remember the beach.
What the? That voice. It's so familiar, and yet fills me with a sense of dread and uncertainty. What happened? I feel so confused. I'm supposed to be doing something important. I have no idea why, but I have a very strong urge to call someone. 555-864-9836. Why do I have that phone number swimming around in my head?
Hello?
Hi? Is that Dawn?
Yes, this is Dawn. Who's this?
You don't know me, and I apologize for waking you, but I have to inform you that you left a candle alight in your bathroom, and it's about to set fire to the shower curtain, which will ultimately set fire to the whole building. This is just too weird. How do I know this?
Oh my God, I fell asleep and totally forgot. Hang on a minute. How the hell did you know?
Jeez, what was that all about? I had to call that number and tell her about the candle. But I don't know. Dawn. And more to the point, even if I did know her, I can't see into her apartment, to know the private goings-ons in her bathroom. I think I need to lie down.
Did Arthur prevent the fire, stop himself from dying unduly, and thus return time and space to normal, I hear you ask? Well, you're still here, aren't you? Yes, by waking Dawn and getting her to extinguish that infernal candle which caused the fire in the first place, Arthur saved the day. Although it's not quite what fate intended, but it did the job. So, that is the story of Arthur McKinney and how he literally saved the universe, although he has no idea about any of it, of course. And in any case, if you are wondering, the junkie from the building still died of an overdose later that day. It was just his fate. You may have been expecting a more dramatic end to my tale, one of action, heartache, death-defying bravery. Well, there was no need to be overly dramatical in all of this. And if you had any idea just how difficult it is to turn back the hands of time, transform a dead soul back into a living being, and make sure that the reinstated Arthur could remember something of a future which ultimately never happened, then you might be a little more grateful. No? Nothing? No words of thanks? Well, the next time the human race is heading towards complete and total destruction into nothingness, I'll just stay at home with a cup of tea and watch it, shall I? Honestly, it isn't easy being dead.